Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Walkie Farm. Spud, say hello. Say hello. Come on. We're in the back bush block. Gonna go and have a quick look at the cows, see if Gugu's got a little surprise for us. Knowing her, she'll bloody drop it on Christmas Day or something. She's a bit of a, I wouldn't call her a drama queen. What is she? She's performative. Every time I've seen her with a little calf, it's always a landmark day and a special occasion and a special spot on the farm. She knows how to really make it a aww moment. But we're in the back bush block, half the farm. As you can see, it's hilly and a bit more marginal than elsewhere. Normally about this time of evening, the what do we got here? Looks like fox poo. And then that, see that for the internationals watching, that's a wombat poo. See, it's all, this one's a bit old. They're like squares, and quite often they'll poo on a rock. So they'll find something a bit higher, like this, and they'll actually, the way they poo, they actually stack them up. If I find one, I'll do a video for you, but you find them stacked 3 or 4 high. Some kangaroo poo. But yeah, normally about this time of day, sort of evening, when I'm coming to look for them, they're normally at the back gate or at the fence closer to the house from this paddock, where they can see me coming, and because I'm trying to bring them a biscuit of hay just to keep them interested, because mustering them out of this paddock is a bit of a, takes a bit of effort. Because it's just so big that even when the feed's getting poor in here, they just don't seem that interested in leaving. Gugu, where are you? What's up, number 9? Everyone's lounging, plenty of dry matter on the ground. Better than last year. Last year it was already getting smoked by the kangaroos. I'm pretty sure I saw Gelato. That's Gelato there. It's an Inguni. Pretty sure I noticed her bagging up yesterday, so we'll swing around and have a look at her as well, but we'll finish checking on everyone here first. Princess, you look lovely. And Combe, hello gorgeous. Lovely little heifer. Look at her, purebred Inguni heifer. She's starting to really get that gut on her. Her capacity's growing. We got Minnie. Toxa, you can tell she doesn't have a calf on her. Look how fat she is, far out. Well, I can already see Gugu's got a lot more milk than she did previously. This is Talani. That's her bull from last year. And that's her heifer, Kangu, from this year. Bull doesn't have a name. I think Theo named it George or something. Theo's one of my sons. Hello everyone. Yeah, Gugu's definitely got more milk, but it's still a work in progress. She's still got a bit of a ways to go. I feel a bit of a pervert coming out here, zooming in on my cow's teeth. You can definitely see that there's more in them, but see how there's wrinkles from the top coming down diagonally towards the outside? They're still they're still not full. And normally they'll be quite large. Generally the largest you'll see the udder is, you know, the day before they give birth and the couple of days afterwards. They've really got a big milk flow happening. Everything's been building up, ready for birth. Hey Kaya. Can I give you a scratch? Can I give you a scratch? Let me give you a scratch. Oh, I got a pat anyway. Got a slap, not a pat. You're the bestest mum. You cooking a big bun? Let's look at that calf shadow ready. Look at that lump. Calf on the right, guts on the left. Look at that. Ooh, beach whale. Just amazes me, you know, the cows know so much more than us in terms of what they want. Like, I look at this and I'm thinking, if I was going to be grazing, I'd be where these ones are in this low-lying area, or where gelato is there, where there's a bit more biomass on the floor. But these ones are just going where there's nothing. This is all cape weed, basically, that's just shriveled up under the heat. It just shrivels up and turns into nothing, really. And they're in here. If there's a little bit, they can smell what they want. Look at that. I am just keeping an eye on them. You know, we started summer, everything's dry, nutrition's finishing in the pasture. I really want to get my mineral trailer block up to scratch quick, smart. I'm not going to be able to do anything today or tomorrow. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week are our 3 biggest days of the year. Packing orders, Christmas hams going out, all of that stuff, booking freight. You know, we're sending, this Wednesday we'll probably send double to triple the normal freight, but after that we really turn off for a few weeks. So hopefully Thursday, Friday I can finish the trailer off. Now, I looked at you yesterday and I thought, oh, she's coming into a bit of milk, but don't think so. Don't know what I was seeing. I do have another cow that looks the same, but she's up there, but I didn't think I had them confused. I checked that. Like I was saying, I like to keep a bit of an eye on body condition, because it's easier to keep them in good body condition than to bring them back into body condition. So how would I keep them into body condition? Well, I need to get some mineral licks out here. No doubt that'll help, especially if I can put a little urea block out. The urea just helps their microbiome digest the dry matter in the pasture a bit better, and that's dry matter. You know, as soon as your grass goes dry, not green anymore, that's what we call it. So that'll help them a bit. But also I could just bring them a little bit more hay. We're not big hay feeders, although last year we relied on it to get through winter. I did have about 15 more 2-year-old heifers on the farm that calved down. So, you know, the nutritional requirements of the herd then was probably 60% more than what it is now. And we have had an ordinary season again, but that yeoman's ploughing we did grew a lot more pasture. So I could probably bring them back home to the half of the farm that's pasture. And if I give them daily moves and keep them full, keep them really happy and don't push them, I've got 6 weeks of good grazing there. You know, they've been out here for what, 5 days now, and you can't even tell that they've been in this paddock apart from a bit of grazing at the gate that they came through, because that's where they hang out for me for the hay. It is also the best grass because that's where I drop the hay. Hay sits on the ground, they don't eat all of it. Bit of extra manure and urine. And when grass grows, there's a bit of extra carbon and nutrients in the ground, and that's where the best grass grows, because we've imported nutrients to there. So they spend a bit of time there because that's where I come, but also it is a nicer grass in the paddock. Beautiful big tree, isn't it? And on these south facing slopes, this is south facing, gets less sunshine, less heat. We are still seeing some of these summer grasses. You know, not much, but I'll never complain about a growing plant, especially when that's what your paddock looks like. All's well here. One of my paddocks, my most easternly paddock, has a lot of that summer grass in it. It's quite thin. It bounced back from the yeoman's ploughing, probably the worst. Really not much dry matter or ground cover. A lot of that nice green summer grass coming up. But I had a look at it yesterday. It's just getting smoked by kangaroos. I very rarely see them there, which just means it's just nocturnal grazing that is coming into it of a night time and doing their thing. Now, I had a chat to my neighbour here, and it looks like I've scored myself a bit of summer grazing there. So I was planning to send these cows down south, about 30 minutes, to one of my lease blocks. A little bit of a hill there, but I'd much rather keep them home where I can visit them every day and see how they're going and monitor them a bit closer. They're not calving, like there's a few that'll calve, but most of them are in a cycle here. But if I can just push them through the fence and do a bit of adjustment next door, I'll be a happy camper. So it looks like that's a go. Just gotta work out the details with the neighbour. He's a lovely gentleman. He's been really kind to us. And we're gonna do a little bit of a payment and labour swap. So this is the boundary fence that we share with him. He's not our full neighbour, there's another neighbour in between, further north. But that's his paddock there. That's another one, it's 450 acres. Hasn't had cows on it. Look at the state of the pasture. I'm not saying this to poo-poo him, just to give you an idea of the season we've had. So talking to this neighbour, he sold his cows back at end of autumn, start of winter, so a long time ago. 6 months, you know, somewhere between 4 and 6 months ago probably, I can't remember exactly. So that hasn't had livestock on it since. He's been on that farm for 35 years and he's been in the area his whole life. He I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's got grandkids. I think he's sort of 70s, 80s, somewhere around there. Hope he doesn't watch this and he's 61, that'll be embarrassing. And he says in a good season, when they get a good rain and everything's nice, this time of year, these back paddocks here, which are actually under conservation agreements, so they can't just be, there's 3 under conservation and you can graze 2 a year, but there's about 3 months where you're not allowed in them. November to March, sort of. End of November to sort of start of March, something like that. Let the native grasses seed off. He said in a good year, you come out here, there's kangaroo grass up over your bonnet. And look at that, a lot of that's dirt and hasn't had livestock on it. Sure had a lot of kangaroos. We had a drive around it yesterday and we probably saw 80 to 100 kangaroos on our loop in three main different mobs. But there's still a lot of pick around, and the north half of his farm flattens out a lot, has a lot more pasture. And if you can just see these briar rows, if you're not out there, you know, grazing them hard or actively chipping them out when they're young, they just get established. The seeds spread fast through birds and foxes and wind, and they just shoot up everywhere. That's these bushes here. I call it briar rose. I think he called it sweet briar. Not much sweet or rosy about it. So I've offered a few hours a week to just walk around and chop these down, rake them up into burn piles. Oh, there's some roos. He's even had pigs. We've had pigs on our place. I've never seen them. I've seen signs of them, but a lot of them were cleared up just before we moved here 2 years ago. A bit of shooting and a bit of trapping with the neighbours. Got on top of them, but there's like a big runoff valley just over this little ridge here, and that's pig territory. If once we get the permissions and paid our dues to get over there, I'll go for a little hunt down there and see if I can't flush any out. So I don't know if I'm going to put the gate here. I want to put a double gate in just to make it a bit easier. It'll help. I've pushed his cattle back into his place before, and I've actually taken them back on trailers because there is no gate. I haven't figured out if I want to put it on the top here or put it in the bottom. You know, there's a little flat section on the bottom there, but it's right next to the dam, so you know, it might be a little bit harder to move the cows around the water there. But I could probably design it so that in the event of in the wake of a big rain event, we could probably open the gates up and stop debris building up against the fences. So just thinking about different ways to string that up at the moment. Internal fences next door are pretty ordinary, so it's going to be some pretty loose, broad acre type of grazing over summer for the cows. You comfy, Spud? So here's that sort of flatter ground down the bottom of this valley. Beautiful pond here, I really like it. We've done a fair bit of work. So this was all, yeah, look, this is what these paddocks look like. Look at all this nice summer grass. coming up. But I came in here with a Matic, and all of these edges from this, you know, erosion channel coming in, they're all really harsh, very vertical, and the water pours over it and ruins the integrity of that and just keeps taking more and more soil, and these just spread up and up. So I came out with a Matic and a friend a bunch of times, and we chipped them with a bit more of an angle on them, and then we actually sowed it over with a cover crop. So there's some of the vetch that we put in. A lot of the annual grasses did come up at the start of spring, just to try to establish some ground cover there. Some places this is looking really nice, some places not so much. We really haven't had, you know, rain at the right time. There's some more that we've done that doesn't look so great, but this is a big cut that's deep. You know, that's over 1 meter deep, comes all the way up to here. We did a big cut. We laid a heap of debris in their branches that we knocked off trees and different things, just to try to hold any organic matter and slow down the water, and that's also looking really nice. So yeah, I might just put a gate here. That will probably work just fine. This little section there. So anyway, that's a bit about us. We've been a little bit quiet lately, but plenty going on, and a couple more days, and the hard work of retail Christmas for us is just about done. We'll just have another week after that, once we dispatch all the orders of Wednesday, of monitoring all the orders going out and problem solving and dealing with address changes, delivery time changes, line haul issues, all that stuff. Then we're done. Christmas at the farm. Thanks for watching.